time. You're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't have to say anything,
but I haven't made off.
We don't mention one question in the little line. Court, anything you do is maybe given evidence.
But I haven't made off, though.
Alright guys, we're breaking down a masterclass in police incompetence that opens with an arrest for a crime that literally cannot exist while the man's still standing in the store. This intro drops you mid-scene with the arrest audio hammering your ears before the host even introduces himself. We're talking about a 20-pound Royal Mint coin, legal tender that these cops have never seen and refuse to accept. The editor knew exactly what they were doing. Hook you with chaos, then quickly explain why this case just cost taxpayers thousands. It's a perfect setup because it establishes every element immediately: wrongful arrest, ignorance of the law, and the massive payout coming.
Committed. That reckless decision comes back to haunt them because I Spy takes it to court and has recently walked away with a massive payout.
It's a £20 coin.
Never seen them in my life.
So it's from the Royal Mint, so the same place that all legal tender comes from.
Have you got any other means of payment at the minute?
I don't know. Right. Can I ask why you didn't tell me before you started recording?
So when we go to any incident, our tour of duty and our police protocol is to video every incident we go to achieve the best evidence.
But you've got to notify the person, or the first available opportunity.
No, we don't.
You do.
Have you got that from somewhere? Have you read that up somewhere? Or?
Yes, your policy. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the minute, we're obviously videoing everything because we've been called to an incident. Immediate response where there's some ongoing issue with payment, whether it's a domestic...
999?
Well, that's what's coming as, yeah.
Wow.
Well, we just didn't know what was happening. There was an altercation in the shop, so we've arrived on that instance. Are you going to give me your name?
I'm not, no.
Right, okay. Because is there a reason for that?
Because it's a civil matter, and it's not something that the police can get involved in.
To a degree, you're right. It is a civil matter. We can deal with it a different way, but obviously, ultimately, you haven't paid for your fuel.
Now we get to the first officer's meltdown, where she tells 3 lies in under 2 minutes. She denies the body cam declaration requirement exists, flat out false per her own department policy. Then she admits it's a civil matter but invents a power to demand ID anyway, threatening to circulate him as wanted over a payment dispute. Wanted markers are for criminals, not contract disagreements. The narrator's real-time legal breakdown here is savage, dissecting how she flunked every basic test. Dishonesty, intent, and the act of leaving. All 3 elements are missing, yet she barrels ahead anyway. This is where the foundation of the lawsuit gets poured. Every word out of her mouth is evidence of misconduct.
But they're not accepting that money.
But that's up to them to accept it. If they decline...
They've obviously run the post office and they've declined that. Ultimately, it's a civil issue, but if you're not willing to give us your details, then how do we know that you're going to resolve the civil issue at a later date? If you're happy to give us your details, then we can look at the civil issue at a later date.
But that's a civil issue, that's nothing for the police to get involved in.
But we don't know your details, do we? So you could technically escape from here and never come back and never deal with that issue, then you'd be circulated as wanted for that, won't you, for making off without payment?
That's not a police issue at the minute.
It is. It is a police issue because you've not paid for fuel. So there's still an offence there of that you've not paid for your fuel.
But I have paid. I've gave them...
But you've gave them this coin, yeah, which ultimately they've spoke to the post office and they've decided that it's not a reasonable amount of payment for your fuel. So at the minute we're sort of hands are tied, yeah, agree with you on a certain instance of that, but we still need a solution today whether we take your details and we deal with it at a later date.
And officer number 2, and she immediately makes a tense situation catastrophic. Within seconds, she's threatening arrest if he walks out that door. A scenario that only exists in her imagination. The auditor is literally standing still, offering payment, and she's treating him like a fleeing felon. The narrator nails it. What if isn't law? You can't arrest someone for a hypothetical future crime. Her total lack of understanding of the Theft Act is staggering. Both leaving and intent to permanently avoid payment must exist. Neither does. The most damning moment? When she says, "We don't know that coin," admitting her own ignorance of legal tender. This clip is pure escalation theater, where authority replaces reason and threats substitute for actual policing.
So basically, he's trying to pay with this. They've run the post office and said that it doesn't really exist, you can't pay with that. He obviously won't give us our details. I've explained to him to a degree it's a civil matter. However, if he does make off and he doesn't give us our details, we're struggling for any sort of civil issue at a later date. Any details and making off without payment, So I've explained if he does give us his details and we know where he is and we can contact him at a later date, hopefully this issue can get resolved. Now he's obviously not really wanting to do that at the minute.
Because it's a civil issue and it's nothing for the police to get involved
But
in.
you're still going to make off, aren't you? Technically without payment, but if we can get your details...
But I have paid.
But you haven't...
And it is their policy to accept the £20 coin.
Have you?
Has
he paid?
Policy? No, he hasn't.
Right, if you haven't paid, and if you walk out the door now...
They've still got the money though.
Just let me finish. If you walk out that door now, you are liable for an arrest because we don't have your details.
But you don't need them.
But I do.
Because it's a civil issue.
But it's not, because a make off without payment is then a police matter.
This is where the police argument circles the drain into pure absurdity. The officers demand the auditor call BP head office in real time to prove the coin's validity, a burden they have no right to impose. They ignore his car registration sitting right outside, a lawful way to confirm identity if they actually needed it. Instead, they trap him in a Kafkaesque loop. We don't know if you'll pay later, so we need your details now, but we won't accept your payment. So it's a police matter. The narrator exposes this beautifully. Their whole case is built on a future scenario that never happened, when the auditor says he's already contacted BP.
You'll be getting
They
arrested
still
for make off
demand
without
proof on the
payment.
spot.
But there
It's
is
not
an
about
agreement
resolution.
with BP.
Is
That's
there
about
any
control.
other way? Is there any other
Every
way that you
second-
can pay? Because we're going to sit here for hours arguing. I've been quite respectful to you. I appreciate you have to a degree, and I appreciate that from yourself. You haven't been argumentative with me, and I appreciate that you've been a normal human being.
No,
However, we need
I don't
a
intend to.
solution.
No.
No, I know you
If
appreciate
you
that.
can pay for the fuel now by other means, then that's fair enough. It'll be the end of the matter.
Or if you can give us your details and we can deal with it at a slower time, we can offer you that. But if you're not willing to do either any, then we're struggling with what we have left to do.
Because we can't let you walk out that door without paying. But
We don't know where you live, might not even be from around here, I'm not saying you are, but you know what I mean, we have people where they'll make off and then they won't give us our details and then we're going to struggle. I'm still going to have that £20 of fuel, unfortunately, with this BP garage outstanding.
Which car is it?
But I have paid for the fuel.
But you haven't paid for the
haven't
fuel.
paid for
Which
fuel.
one?
Right, we're going round in circles, aren't we?
We are, unfortunately, yeah. We've agreed, we've reasoned with you now, we've tried to say that if you give us your details, just tell you where you live, we'll deal with it slow time. However, you then leave, you don't have your details, you don't know where you live, you could live in London for all we know, and then there's still this making off without payment because they will not accept this as payment.
But I don't have to identify for a civil issue.
It technically isn't a civil issue though, is it, when you leave and you don't pay? You haven't paid for your fuel. We've got the payment here, which isn't acceptable, so really you haven't paid at the minute.
Here comes the climax. The moment they actually say the words, "You're under arrest," while the auditor stands there calmly responding, "But I haven't made off." That single sentence destroys their entire case. The narrator's legal analysis here is brutal and precise. The Theft Act requires two elements, leaving the premises and intent to permanently avoid payment. Both are absent. He's offered valid legal tender. He's still in the store, and he's explicitly stated he's not leaving. Yet they cuff him anyway. This is a mistake. It's willful misconduct. The officers know the elements aren't met, but they've backed themselves into a corner with their threats. Rather than de-escalate, they double down, turning civil disagreement into criminal abuse. This clip is a smoking gun that cost taxpayers £4,000.
But if it's
You're
a civil
running the risk of
agreement,
being arrested because you haven't given us his details and you're going to walk out that door and it's technically a failure to pay.
but then it'll be a
Make off
civil.
without payment.
But then I'll sue you.
Well, that's
So,
fine. If you want to sue us, that's fine.
unlawful
But
arrest.
like I said, we've been honest with you in terms of which way we can go. The staff here have been very honest, okay? And all I'm saying
Well, he
is, if you
hasn't.
get the person on the phone who you spoke to earlier with the agreement, then that could be the end of the matter. But
you
as
know-
far as I do, then technically, if you walk out the door, it's going to be make off without payment.
He's already accepted to take it.
You haven't accepted to take it. No, haven't accepted to take it. You walk out that door, becomes a criminal matter, and you get arrested for make off without payment.
Or you give us your details.
You're refusing to give us your
Go from there.
details, and we don't know that vehicle is yours because you're not.
But I've told you
Is it urgent?
that He said he would take the coin
But he isn't now, is
if
he?
I take my mask off.
Right, well I wasn't here for that, so we have no witnesses, unfortunately, other than you and him. Right now I can't view that.
Body camera.
But right now I can't view that. At the end of the day, you've come in, you've paid for you've got your fuel, you've come in. This isn't a payable matter. Once you leave, we've offered you to give us your details and deal with that way. For all I know, that vehicle could be registered to somebody else and lived in London. And how are we ever going to trace you?
But I don't need to assist you.
Once you leave the situation, it is making off without payment. I can't be any more reasonable with you and give you some sort of options that we can go.
But I don't need to assist you.
Are you offering to give
Because
the
you're
staff,
wrong.
not myself, not my colleague, the staff your name and contact number?
No.
Right, so we have one option, but two will lock you up then.
Well, I've got a civil agreement in the background.
You can
So-
prove that at court.
I've
You
got
can prove that at court.
That's
then.
fine, you can prove that at court.
Right, well, this moment in time, you're currently under arrest for making off without payment. You don't
I
have to
haven't-
say anything,
but I haven't made off.
Defense. We don't mention one question from the letter line court. Anything you do is a negative evidence.
But I haven't made off though.
For your arrest as a prompted and factual investigation. Okay?
But I haven't made off.
That you're under caution as well.
I do the fact you failed to provide data.
But I haven't made off.
Fails to provide details, yeah.
But I haven't made off.
Right, are we going to go calmly? Are we going to go quietly?
We would go calmly all the time.
Okay, well, do you want to walk with us then?
Of course.
Thank you. Just come with me, sir, please. Have you got anything in your pockets that's going to harm me or you? Just take them out. It's just a question we ask everybody.
Should we just take your camera off as well?
Now for the sweet taste of justice. 10 months later, the auditor reveals the chief constable paid out £3,999 plus legal costs. A massive admission of defeat. The narrator emphasizes what this really means. They knew they couldn't defend the arrest in court, so they settle hard. But here's the kicker. No apology. The head of the force would rather write a check with taxpayer money than admit fault. That silence is louder than any admission. It's a masterclass in how police brass protect their image over accountability. The narrator connects this payout directly to the footage we've just watched, proving every threat, every legal misstep, every moment of intimidation has a price tag. And in this case, it's nearly $4,000 of public money for a 20 quid coin dispute. Absurd. Finally, we zoom out to the systemic rot. This wasn't two rogue cops. It was a cultural failure where ego replaced law and intimidation became standard procedure. The narrator dismantles how they invented crimes in real time, built a case on imaginary scenarios, and weaponized authority against someone asserting basic rights. The lack of apology from the chief constable proves a priority. Protect the force's image, not fix its behavior. Nearly £4,000 in damages, zero accountability. If this can happen over a coin, it can happen over anything. If you found this breakdown valuable, smash that like button, subscribe for more accountability content, and we'll see you in the next video.